Sorority House Massacre is a 1986 horror film from director Carol Frank. The movie opens at the Theta Omega Theta Sorority House. Sorority House Massacre, MS Paint Titles Edition. We then go to a hospital where Beth is trying to remember a terrible ordeal. She explains to the nurse, friend, relative what happened when she went to the sorority house. Her arrival triggers a flashback to this guy in an insane asylum. She moves into the house and meets up with some of the sisters. The orderlies rough up the patient and strap him into the bed. Beth is having a dream. We're 5 minutes in and already the film is 90% flashbacks. Beth sees a trio of creepy girls outside the house. After this, the girls are going to go jump some rope at Elm Street. Her suitcase has the initials LBH, and so does the house! Beth heads inside to see a bunch of dolls sitting around the dinner table. Oh, that's nightmare fuel. She looks over at the table and oh, she's having dinner with Crocodile Dundee. She goes upstairs and finds a bloody catcher's mitt. This is starting to look less like a nightmare and more like a Laura Branigan music video. She finds a bloody bed and wakes up. What the hell did I eat last night? Sarah barges into Beth's room and asks her about the mysterious scar on her arm. Wow, that is a lot of pink. The girls engage in a game of musical clothes. Beth's pained self-reflection is interrupted by some random nudity. In a movie with sorority in the title, I'm surprised it took 10 minutes. The mental patient does his impression of the Arthur meme. The girls are discussing a powwow they're planning at the house. Beth goes back to get a book and sees someone in the mirror. That's kind of cool, actually. The mental patient is going berserk! Wouldn't this sort of activity call for a padded cell? The doctors are trying to figure out why the guy's going nuts. Why would the doctor go into a violent patient's room without the orderlies? The girls are walking to school, and Sarah gives this bit of foreshadowing.
Family moved from Dayton to Miami. Got it? From Ohio to Florida. And this kid found its way back to them. It's like it picked up on a psychic beacon.
The girls go to their classes.
Everyone in here has probably experienced deja vu or clairvoyancy. The strong feeling that you've been in the same situation before, or that you know exactly what's going to happen.
For example, you feel like you've seen this movie before. Amygdala. Okay, use Ludwig's blade to smack it in the head. The doctors hook up the guy to a brainwave device reader thingy. I forget what it's called. Polygraph? Most of the girls are going away for a long weekend, but Beth and some of the others are staying at the house. The doctor asks the patient inflammatory questions to try to get a reaction. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Beth goes into the house and walks into a crime scene. Somehow the guy at the hospital is projecting himself to this location. Or is he? Beth's freaked out and runs into the sorority mother. Now with the sorority mother gone, Sarah, Tracy, and Linda return.
All right, it's a whole place to ourselves. Let's eat Melanie's ice cream.
This reminds me of something.
Sarah, we're in this huge house with all your friends. We have telephones, we have a car, your parents are gone, and you say so?
Come on, Sarah, what's the first thing you think of?
Party!
The girls decide to do something they can't do normally.
Do you know what I've always wanted to do? I mean, like if time stopped for everyone except me. Try on Cindy's clothes.
Yes!
Ladies, I'm being serious here. Would this be something a bunch of college girls would really do? Or was it just an excuse to have a random nudity montage? I mean, they're even playing sexy sax music. Over at the hospital, an orderly's dropping off food, so the patient kills him and escapes. Terrible security at this place. Beth tells the girls about her nightmares while they load up on ice cream. Sarah remembers that she has a book on dreams, so they're going to use it to try to figure out what's going on. The killer goes to a hardware store to steal a hunting knife. He then dispatches this elderly gentleman working there. The girls sit around drinking gin and talking about Beth's dreams. So she's linked to this guy but couldn't sense that he escaped and murdered someone? The killer steals a car. The girls head out back to set up the teepee and whatnot for the event. The killer pulls up in the driveway, but oh, it's the guys. Hi ladies, we're here for the sex. The very observant orderly finally notices there's a bloody corpse in room 26 and sounds the alarm. Tracy and Craig go inside the teepee to make out. So they built the teepee and pitched a tent at the same time. Okay, so now we have a name for the killer, Robert Henkel. Rather than stay with his girlfriend all weekend, Steve decides he'd rather go rafting. That's gotta do wonders for her esteem. The other guys stay for a while. Although I think they're starting to regret that. The power's out and they think the guys did it, so they light a fire. They sit around the fire and talk about this horrible murder that took place in this same sorority house 13 years ago. John starts to explain many of the things that Beth's been seeing in her dreams. Beth's had enough and calls it a night. She's looking around and runs into John.
I just wanted to make sure that you were all right.
Well, I will be if you stop scaring me to death.
I'm sorry. I couldn't see you.
Yes, because it's so dark in here. Beth goes to another room to sleep. The rest of the gang gathers around to watch the television, and hey, how is the TV on if there's no power? Beth has a nightmare Henkel's killing someone. She screams, so the gang wakes her up. I'd have nightmares too, sleeping next to this giant human-sized Smurf piñata. Tracy goes outside to check the fuse box. Craig comes to help and gets a swift knee to the groin. He has a brilliant idea to spend the night in the teepee. Henkel arrives at the house. Now with the power back on, the gang heads to the living room. Okay, make sure to have the Pepsi logo visible at all camera angles. Beth starts telling everyone about her dreams again. She has a vision of where the killer hid the knife. She tells the guys where to look, and they find it. Did the cops even search this place?
Why is it dirty?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it's been in a fireplace for 12 years? That's right, gang. Be sure to get your fingerprints all over it. Dr. Lindsay gets a message that Henkel escaped. She calls the hospital to tell them about the killer. Turns out he killed his whole family except for one little girl who survived. I wonder who that could be. Andy's late for work, so he leaves. Their passion just leaps off the screen. Well, now he's going to be really late for work. Craig and Tracy head out to the teepee. There's barely enough room for one person in here, let alone two people stooping. Henkel then starts attacking the teepee. This thing isn't Fort Knox. You could, leave. Anyway, he keeps stabbing until he kills Tracy. Craig then runs away nude. Wait, how did he get his pants off while still wearing his shoes? Craig and his penis wake everybody up. Henkel cuts the phone line so they can't call for help. Henkel goes to stab Beth and kills John. He died where he lived, in the friend zone. Thinking the other ones are dead, Linda, Sarah, and Craig lock themselves in a room. The girls hear Beth and let her in just in time. Yeah, that paper-thin IKEA door isn't going to do much to stop this guy. They try to climb out the window, but Craig gets killed. Does he have any situational awareness? The girls try to chuck the ladder, but Henkel grabs the windowsill. They spray him with mace, and he finally falls off. Okay, so he's unconscious on the ground. Throw heavy things at him. Even though they're on the second floor, somehow Henkel jumps through the window. Linda forgets how doors work. They finally open the door to see Andy's dead. Well, dying. Okay, now he's dead. The girls escape out of the house, but get cornered by Henkel. They try to run away, but Sarah trips over Tracy's corpse and gets killed. Linda and Beth hide in the basement. Beth tells Linda her first name's Laura when she realizes that she's Henkel's sister. They try to fight him off, but no amount of Linda's shoveling is doing any good. Henkel goes in for the kill when finally Linda connects with a headshot and knocks him out.
He's dead.
No, he isn't! Run! Run out the door, girls! Run! This is why you always double tap. Beth's trying to get away. She grabs the knife, and alright, that's a kill shot. Beth's in the hospital recovering from her injuries, but she's still having visions of her brother.
Beth.
I hear you calling, but I can't come home right now. The movie was shot mostly on location in Los Angeles, California, for Roger Corman's Concord Pictures. Filming took about 17 days. The movie revolved around Beth having visions or déjà vu, which is funny since while you're watching this, you may have déjà vu if you saw a 1982 film called Slumber Party Massacre. The writer-director of Sorority House Massacre, Carol Frank, worked as the assistant director on Slumber Party Massacre back in 1982. While the films are similar, there's enough differences there to make Sorority House Massacre a film that was inspired by Slumber Party Massacre, but not completely ripping it off. Although earlier in the film, when the gang's watching TV, the movie they're watching is Slumber Party Massacre. To help offset the budget, the film had plenty of product placement. So in many of the scenes, soda, chips, and ice cream were there with the labels clearly visible. The girl on the poster for the movie was Susie Slater from Savage Streets and Chopping Mall. This is odd because she's not in the actual movie. Roger Corman always liked hiring female directors for his films, which was one of the reasons he brought in Carol Frank. While she handled the film well, and it went on to be a success, she never directed again. In 1990, Jim Wynorski directed the sequel, Sorority House Massacre 2. It follows a different group of girls being stalked by a killer. There was an unofficial sequel spin-off third Sorority House Massacre film called Hard to Die. It had the same director and many of the same cast as Part 2. The movies are tied together by the killer, Orville Ketchum, played by the well-known low-budget character actor Peter Spellos. For most of the cast, Sorority House Massacre was their first film. Some continued acting, while others moved on to other areas of the industry. Vinnie Blancio moved on to writing, producing, and directing films like Werewolf in a Women's Prison. Angela O'Neill quit acting in 1990 to become a prop master in huge films like Apollo 13, The Haunting, and now works on TV shows like True Detective and Medal of Honor. Nicole Rio was in Terminal Exposure and Gang Justice, but quit acting in the early 90s. She recently returned to acting in the revenge film Story of Eva. John C. Russell played the killer Bobby. While he's menacing in the film, the cast said he was very kind in reality, which would occasionally make it hard for them because they're supposed to be afraid of him. Sorority House Massacre was his only movie. He was the managing director of a theater group in Los Angeles, and sadly died in 1997 at the age of 39. Sorority House Massacre is kind of what you would expect, but also a little bit of a surprise. Yes, there's a lot of nudity and dumb college kids doing dumb things, but the addition of the psychic link between the siblings is interesting, even though it's never explained. Not that everything has to be explained, I kinda like it when there's some mysteries left to things. Overall, the cast was good, the pacing was fine, and the deja vu flashback scenes made it interesting, and helped it to be more than just random killer kills college students. It also probably helped to keep them from getting sued for ripping off Halloween.
Family moved from Dayton to Miami. Got it? From Ohio to Florida. And this pig found its way back to them.
So now they have to move again.
It's like it picked up on a psychic beacon.
Or in this case, a psychic bacon.